Hello and welcome to my video. In today's video I'm going to be talking about a special challenge I devised for Baldur's Gate 3. So recently I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 with the main goal of getting all of my companions to a high approval rating in one playthrough and before the Tiefling camp celebration. This video will have minor spoilers, so be warned. And I know patch 6 is right around the corner, so if I'm lucky, hopefully all of these still apply to patch 6, but if not, it's a patch 5 tutorial. I'm going to be referencing approval rank, so if you don't know what that is, under the character menus, you can actually look under each of your companions and see where you are in terms of approval. This can go from neutral all the way to very high. And if a companion's approval rating is at high, they will accept Tav's romance moves at the camp celebration scene. Ooh. The reason I choose the tieflings instead of the goblins is due to the fact that Wyll actually leaves the party if you don't go the tiefling route. Without further ado, let's talk about the challenge.
I hate it. This is awful.
Now, in my first attempt of this challenge, I ran into two major problems. The first was the fact that Gale got bugged. Now, this is an early access game, so there are a lot of bugs, and sometimes stuff just doesn't go right. And in this case, I got his approval up too fast, and this caused him to completely bug out, with certain conversations with him just repeating every time I went to camp, and some conversations never appearing at all. And by the time I got to the celebration scene, he was at very high, but he actually declined my Tav, which was really sad.
I'm sorry, but surely we're friends, allies, the best of companions, but no more than that.
My advice would be to make sure you go to camp every time you rank up. So for example, if you get a companion from neutral to medium, go to sleep and go to camp and just check if there is any pop-up for that companion. I think this is majorly just a bug, and in my second attempt of this challenge I actually avoided it entirely, so I guess I just got unlucky. Now, my second biggest problem was Lae'zel. Now, I can easily say she is the hardest part of this challenge. Lae'zel has very few events that can give her approval ups in the game, and I'm going to actually write down each of the ones that I took in my successful playthrough and show you guys, as the wiki itself doesn't have all of them and she is already quite limited, so it can be very easy to not know what to do with Lae'zel. But for now, all you need to know is that Lae'zel's approval up is time sensitive. Getting approval in Baldur's Gate 3 is time sensitive. So for example, if you complete events that would give a certain character approval ups and you missed that opportunity, meaning you didn't have them with you or you picked the wrong option, that actually means you can never get that approval back. So in a sense, the later you are into a game, the more harder this challenge is, so it's best to start from the very beginning of the game, and especially with Lae'zel, because there are a lot of little events that can help approval her up, but if you don't get those little events, you'll actually miss out and just have to deal with a grumpy Lae'zel.
A night to remember. It was wonderful, wasn't it?
During my two attempts of this playthrough or challenge, I made a Google spreadsheet where I wrote down most of the approval ups and downs that I found, and I will show each of them on screen now. Some of this is on the wiki, some of it is not. I tried my best to document everyone's reactions, however I noticed in between my playthroughs there was a patch update. I've been trying to make this video for probably maybe a month or two now. It's ridiculous. Some of these don't actually apply anymore, as each update and each patch tends to change a little bit as to how the approval system works, and the wiki itself even has approval ups and downs that aren't accurate anymore. So please keep that in mind. Some of this stuff changes, however, for the most part, most of it is fairly accurate. So, how to keep every companion happy. I'm going to break down each of our companions, and hopefully I can give some tips for each of the characters. Probably my first tip is that within the first hour of the game, when you're hanging out with the tieflings, you'll want to keep Wyll, Gale and Shadowheart together, as they often share similar approvals, especially when it comes to being helpful and nice to the tieflings. And saving the tiefling child from Kolga boosts them all up at the same time.
There's that confidence I like. I thank you for seeking me out.
Now you can actually get Gale up to very high pretty easily in the first few hours of the game just by doing nice things around the tiefling camp and calling Kolga a monster. And Wyll is very similar. He likes when you save the tieflings and be nice to people. However, Wyll has a little bit of extra spice to his character, meaning he really hates goblins.
To freedom from tyranny, may we hew a clear path for the downtrodden to travel.
So if you want to get Wyll up to really high, it's pretty simple. Just take him with you whenever you're going to go be mean to a goblin. You can let the goblin die in the tiefling camp, and also letting Wyll take charge whenever he runs into a goblin he knows. That'll really make him happy. So yeah, Wyll and Gale, pretty simple.
Best not keep me waiting. I'd prefer not to entertain myself.
Now Shadowheart, on the other hand, she can be a little bit complicated. I'd recommend siding with Lae'zel whenever they have a feud, just because Shadowheart's approval can be won back while Lae'zel has far less options for it. And during the second night or so, you can have a conversation with Shadowheart about where the party should go, and make sure to pick the option that's about Lae'zel's crash, because if you don't, well, you might have to do a little bit more harder work for Lae'zel. What things does Shadowheart like? Well, first off, when you encounter the devil, tell Shadowheart personally that you will not side with the devil. She loves this. And tell the devil straight to his face that you will not side with him, and all of your companions will love you for that. Shadowheart likes being very secretive. She doesn't like it when you tell Auntie Ethel about your tadpole problem in front of her, so don't do that with Shadowheart in your party. And in general, Shadowheart likes it when you use persuasion to get out of situations. An easy way to also boost her approval is either at the Shrine of Saloon or during the scene just before the goblin camp, is if you persuade Shadowheart to open up to you about her secretness, you can actually get her to tell you that she's a worshipper of Shah. And this will unlock some good dialogue back at camp. And if you want to know exactly what that dialogue is, if you talk to her about her missing memories, Tav can actually tell Shadowheart to point out her favorite flower, and this is really sweet and cute, and it boosts her approval rating pretty nicely. And it's usually around this point in the playthrough that I get Shadowheart to high.
Please. Cheeky little pup. I'll see you later.
Astarian has probably the most opportunities for approval ups. However, they're a lot more random and hard to gauge compared to other companions. Most other companions have a sort of theme or area that they really enjoy. However, Astarian tends to really only enjoy being mischievous and sometimes being mean, but not really too mean. For example, he likes it when you let the goblin die in the tiefling camp, he likes it when you tell Auntie Ethel about the tadpole, and he really likes it when you say bar to the redcaps who are pretending to be sheeps in Auntie Ethel's swamp. You can honestly get Astarian to like you pretty quickly if you can just find out all the little things that he likes. But if you want to make it even easier, you can find out he's a vampire by passing the medicine check when you find the boar on the way to the blighted village, and then let him bite you at camp that night and tell him you trust him. Then, at Auntie Ethel's place, you can let him kill the Gur who's out to kill him. And by doing all of this, you will get him super high in approval, and you can look at my Google sheet and see all the different approvals for Astarian. They're quite all over the place, and the wiki documents his approvals pretty well. I wonder who's the fan favorite? Or the developer's favorite in that. I would suggest being careful, however. Make sure you don't bring Astarian along when you're doing objectively nice things, as he tends to disapprove of that. And if you're really struggling with Astarian, you can give him the Book of Necromancy, the big evil book that you can find under the Blighted Village.
I have seen the Kithraki tear a screaming Neogi's legs from its belly to fashion into blades, yet they could not match your nerve today. It was enough to drive me to madness.
Now, Lae'zel enjoys being strong and tough, so playing as a fighter gives you at least one more option for an approval up. I found that when you approach Zevlor and the human arguing, you can actually have a unique fighter option only to knock out the human, and this gives Lae'zel a nice little approval up. Lae'zel only has one event in the game currently at the moment, and that is when you go and speak to the Gith about the crash and trying to get the tadpole out of your head. When you do this event, make sure to let her speak to her people, and it doesn't matter if you tell the truth or a lie, it doesn't affect Lae'zel's opinion of you, but what is important is when you go back to the camp after this event, that you tell Lae'zel to calm down as a persuasion option, and her approval will go up. There are not many events that actually approval up Lae'zel, so I'm going to put up on the screen all the approval ups that I did, and hopefully my poorly spelt little document isn't too bad for all of you. But you can kind of see my method and what I did.
The buzz of celebration quiets to a soothing hum as you approach your bunk. Though you seek repose, you needn't spend the night alone. With whom will you share a bed?
Finally, I've gone through and counted up from all of my first playthrough the amount of approval ups that I had for each of my companions, and while I haven't finished it for the second playthrough, I have counted Lae'zel and a few others, and it seems to be that you need around 17 approval ups to get a companion to high, meaning if you want to romance a companion, you need to get them to roughly 17 approval ups. This also includes doing their special events and like things like sucking up to them and just being the simp, basically. Thank you for watching. If you have any recommendations for what I could do for more videos, please let me know. And yeah, bye bye!